I first started out doing private label, was not a success, but I knew I still wanted to do Amazon. I found online arbitrage and retail arbitrage, and I started messing around with that, and that was what I ended up doing. A lot of people sell on Amazon. It's super easy, but it is a lot of work. You have to put in all the work to see all the results.
Today we interviewed Alexa, a six-figure Amazon seller. She started this business as a side hustle, and now she turned it into a full-time business. She will share tips for retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, as well as wholesale. Also, she will share what kind of categories you can sell on Amazon that have good potential. Hope her story can help your business. Let's get started. Hello, Alexa. For the first question, I want to ask you, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Alexa. I'm 29 years old. I have been selling on Amazon since 2022. I first started off in the insurance industry, and I worked in there for about 5 years, overlapping with the 3 years that I've sold on Amazon. And then back in 2024, I quit my job in the insurance industry and have been a full-time Amazon seller since.
Oh, wow, that's great. And how did your Amazon journey start? How did you decide that you want to start selling on Amazon? And was it your first online business, or you started with something else at first?
Yeah, so I always knew that I wanted to do something on my own and sort of be my own boss. I used to try to sell jewelry that I made. I would sell it on Etsy. And then in about 2021, I tried to do like a used clothing business, but I just wanted something more scalable and more easier to do online instead of going out to stores and everything. So I found on Instagram, I saw videos of people selling on Amazon, and it looked a little sketchy at first. I wasn't sure about it. And then I talked to some people who had done it themselves. So then I decided to try it for myself.
Okay, that's cool. And was it easy from your first attempt, or there were some challenges at the beginning?
So I first started out doing private label, which now looking back on it, I should have saved that one for last. It was not a success, but I learned a lot from it. I sourced my product from Alibaba, branded it, and then I ran into an issue with Amazon where we messed up the UPC and it was under the wrong category. So I had to fix the problem. It took about 3 months, and then my product was sort of a flop. And then from there, I knew I still wanted to do Amazon, and then I found online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. And I started messing around with that, and that was what I ended up doing.
Oh, okay, that's great. And how did you actually learn about their different business models? Because some people at the beginning, they even don't know there are online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, wholesale. They think that all Amazon business is private label. So how did you get to know those business models?
Yeah, definitely. So when I first started, I didn't know that there were different models. I just saw private label first and was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And then when I started researching, I found out about online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and wholesale as well. I did take a class with Flips for Miles, so he taught me a lot. I would not be where I am today without taking that mastermind course. So that really got me into online arbitrage and retail arbitrage.
And for now, for your business, what kind of business models do you do on Amazon?
Right now, I would say I'm about 50% online arbitrage, maybe about 10% retail arbitrage. And then I've started shifting over in the last half of the year to wholesale. So about 40% wholesale. My goal is to get fully into wholesale, but I'm doing it slowly.
How do you think you're able to grow on Amazon? Because I think there's something that is very hard for many people. For you, how do you think you're able to scale and and grow your Amazon business?
Yeah, I think just staying super consistent and not changing my strategies, sticking to what I knew, even though I couldn't see my growth instantly. The more I stuck to my strategies and being consistent, doing every day, putting in the work, I got to see my numbers increase.
And was it hard at the beginning to kind of combine your full-time job and Amazon business? How were you able to kind of manage it?
It wasn't as hard as I was expecting. I would probably spend maybe 2 to 3 hours a day on it in the beginning, after work or before work. And I was pretty motivated to get out of my office job. So I would say it wasn't too hard with all that. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was something nice to come home to and work on.
And just in general, what do you think is kind of the key to succeed on Amazon?
I think staying consistent and not letting problems or obstacles keep you from growing. In the beginning, it's pretty hard, or not hard, but it's a lot of work to get started. And I think a lot of problems you run into are where new sellers will stop and make excuses as to why they can't get past this. I know ungating is a big problem, but just staying consistent and realizing that these problems are normal and you can get past them, and getting through that threshold will help you grow.
Another question I want to ask you, because many people, they start to sell on Amazon, but then they fail. So like, why do you think many Amazon sellers, like, they fail on Amazon?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people see on Instagram, it's advertises, oh, sell on Amazon, it's super easy. So people go into it with that mindset. And I wouldn't say it's hard, but it is a lot of work. So I think if you're prepared to do a lot of work, then new sellers can get by pretty well. But you have to go in with the mindset that everything, you have to put in all the work to see all the results.
Okay, perfect. And then like now let's talk a little bit more about product sourcing, because I think this is like the most important part. What kind of tips can you give to people for the product sourcing they can
So
do?
I would say my one tip for retail arbitrage is to scan everything you can in the stores, even if you think the product might not be profitable on Amazon, or it might be too heavy or whatever you may think. Definitely scan it, because you never know where you're going to find profit. Yeah, you'll get more used to the brands that are sold in stores as well. So that's helpful. But yes, I would say scan everything.
And what kind of tips can you give to people for product sourcing for online arbitrage?
For online arbitrage, I would say that the harder it is to make a product profitable, the better that product is. If you're sourcing a sale that every seller can like go on to, and maybe on Kohl's there's a sale and every seller is that's available to them, then most people will buy that product. The seller count will increase and most likely the price will tank. But if there's a product that you need to get gift cards for or discount codes, the further you have to go to make that product profitable, the safer it will be for you.
And like for the wholesale, what kind of product sourcing tips do you share for the wholesale?
I am still in the beginning stages of wholesale, but what I've learned so far is to get on the phone. I know it sounds so cliche and you hear it from everyone, but you get way farther on a phone call than on an email, and people are more willing to share. They'll give more information on the phone rather than back and forth in an email. You'll get in a phone call, you'll get where you need to be in 5 minutes instead of waiting a few days for people to respond.
Mm. And just in general, what kind of mistakes do people do like with product sourcing? Because unknown things are something that people don't really think about, but then like it's they actually do this, and like it's not something that they should do.
I think for beginners, not learning how to read Keepa charts correctly could be a mistake. I know a lot of new sellers, and I did this as well, is basing if I want to buy something off of the product's data in real time, like what the price is right now and how many sellers there are. But knowing how to read Keepa charts and seeing those trends, if there's a spike in price right now, it might drop later. Just knowing, being able to like analyze those trends and base your purchases off of that instead of what you're seeing right now in real time.
Okay, cool. And another question I want to ask you, because you mentioned that like you want to move your business to wholesale and eventually do like mostly wholesale. And why wholesale is your favorite business model?
I'm really enjoying wholesale right now because I can be a bit more social and talk on the phone, talk to people. I was heavy in online arbitrage, which is a lot of sitting at the computer still, sourcing, not really talking to many people. So that's why I do like wholesale, and being able to grow your relationships and what comes out of those shows more than what comes out of sourcing online, I think.
And then let's say like if someone wants to start their business on Amazon like in 2025, like what kind of business model do you think they should start?
From my experience, I think starting out with online or retail arbitrage would be your best bet. You can learn the quickest through that, and from there, learn the stepping stones to go to wholesale and then next to private label.
When you do the product sourcing, like what kind of metrics do you look for before purchasing the product?
I look at a lot of things. The main things I would look at are like the sales per month, the bestseller rank, and then I will look at the buy box if it's steady, increasing, decreasing, and then also the offer count. I will mainly look for a steady buy box or a steady increase, and then a stable or decreasing offer count.
All right. Okay. Perfect. And like, is it different from category to category, or it's pretty much the same for each category for you?
I pretty much those are my metrics that I use across categories for sourcing online
Okay. All right.
arbitrage.
And then like when it comes to the particular category on Amazon, like do you have like any preferences like that are easier to sell, or like something that you find like more kind of like profitable, like for you, like in general, what kind of categories you think are like more suitable to sell on Amazon?
I started out really heavy in shoes and apparel, and then I in the beginning I sold a lot of Nike, and then they repartnered with Amazon, so I've been pulling away from that. I do like selling the makeup category and also in grocery as well. And then within the last 6 months, I've gotten into the pet category.
Do you think that there are any underrated category on Amazon, something that people are kind of like scary about, or they think it's not something that they should do, but then it's actually quite a good opportunity there?
I don't know about any underrated categories. I had never gotten into pet until recently. I thought it was too competitive, but I've learned that there's such a large market for pets. People are always spending money on pets. It's a year-round thing. So I would say that's a good one to look into.
And then like for you, like for your Amazon business, what kind of tools do you use like in your like daily selling on Amazon?
So my daily tools that I use are BQool, SellerAmp, and Keepa. Those are my top three. And then obviously I'm on Seller Central a lot, but I wouldn't consider that a tool.
And like as you mentioned, BQool, and what do you think about BQool in general? And like how was your experience so far?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of BQool. I've been using it for about 2 years now. I think it's very user friendly and straightforward. I like how it works for you 24/7, which is nice, especially traveling. It's nice to know that that's adjusting for me to win the buy box. And if I do need to adjust anything, it doesn't take me that long. I can go through all the products that I have in stock instead of manually going through everything.
Okay, that's good to hear. And then like, how do you think BQool help your business like so far?
I think it helps me mainly with the manual. I used to manually reprice before I started BQool, and that took up hours of my day just going through things. But being able to sort out like through my products on BQool and just change my min max pretty quickly, that's been a huge time saver for me.
And for you in general, how long you were selling on Amazon before you knew that there are repricer that exists?
I was selling for about a year before. I did not know what a repricer was. So then when I heard about it, I needed to try it out, and I'm so glad I did. I have not gone back since.
Okay, that's cool. And for you, like for using BQool, what kind of features you think are missing or something that you would like to see in the future?
I don't think I have one. I know we've talked about this before, but I really enjoy everything how BQool is. I would like to learn more about the rules, which is something I think that maybe could be made more accessible for people. But I wouldn't say there's anything that needs to be changed.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, thank you. And like for yourself, like do you see yourself still selling on Amazon like in 5 or 10 years?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of goals that I want to hit. I've only been doing it for 3 years, so I definitely think there's more time in this for me.
And like in the future, like do you plan to focus all on wholesale or also like kind of like go back to the private label that you did before?
Within the near future, I would like to get full-time wholesale, and I do want to tackle private label again. But I want to master wholesale first.
All right, yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I think we getting to the end of this video. So thank you so much for sharing. And if someone wants to find you on social media, like how can they find you? And do you also like offer like some coaching services or something else?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Both of them are Amazon with Alexa. I'm more on Instagram, but a little bit of Twitter. And then I do have a coaching program. It's a one-on-one for online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. And you can find more information about that on my Instagram.
Okay, perfect. And for your coaching, what do people like what do you teach there and what people can expect to learn from there?
Yeah, so we focus mainly on online and retail arbitrage. And then I offer 2 one-on-one coaching calls per week, and then 24/7 access to me, so you can text me, call me, whatever you need if you have any questions. And then I do focus on teaching 3 types of sourcing and really learning how to read Keepa and SellerAmp.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna make sure to include those links in the description. So guys, make sure to go and follow Alexa X and on Instagram. Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing. I think it was great. And we hope like to maybe have like another video sometime in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex.